So tomorrow night is WrestlePalooza. Tonight was the go home episode of Smackdown for WrestlePalooza. And before I really state anything as far as WrestlePalooza goes, I have to mention this, and this is that every single week now for Smackdown or for Raw or whatever the case is, these shows are becoming harder and harder to watch. I don't really know if this is just a me problem and this is just something that I am going through right now, sort of a wrestling hangover. Or if this is going around universally, but some of the stuff here I just could not give a shit about. Like for instance, let's start off with the Brock Lesnar attack here to kick off the show on SmackDown, because we had Brock Lesnar. He was supposedly scheduled for an in-ring interview with Michael Cole, or backstage interview, whatever the case was, right? It was supposed to be an interview with Michael Cole, telling us an explanation for why he's going after John Cena, which would be great, right? Because we have yet to, actually had an explanation for why he's going after John Cena, other than the fact of just him just being Brock Lesnar, which isn't an explanation in itself. But regardless, Brock Lesnar comes out here, hoist Michael Cole up, possibly giving him an F5, when all of a sudden Corey Graves steps up and defends Michael Cole's honor. And then Corey receives a couple of F5s, and that's the entire segment. We also see Brock Lesnar grab the camera and yell into the camera that tomorrow it's going to be D-Day for John Cena and he's coming for blood. And that was it. There was no explanation, no John Cena, no miraculous hero saved by John Cena to come out. On Lesnar, nothing. It was just, hey, let's make Brock Lesnar look good here tonight. And they've done this angle numerous times, I would assume, right? We just seen this with Gunther and Michael Cole not that long ago. And if you have really great long-term memory, this happened as well with Michael Cole and Brock Lesnar, I think the night after WrestleMania, like 10 years ago. So it's almost like they kind of have no fucking clue what they're doing. And they're just like, hey, fuck it, man. Brock Lesnar's here. We have him for an appearance here. All right, let's get our money's worth out of this guy. And they can't even seem to do that right. But the only thing of Brock Lesnar of note that I actually found somewhat intriguing was the whole interaction that he had in the backstage area with Paul Heyman. Because after that segment, we see Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman sort of, come face to face, and Brock Lesnar simply looks at Paul Heyman and tells him, it would be nice to talk once again, or to do business once again. Now, a lot of people are saying whether or not Brock Lesnar is going to be the newest member of the Vision, or whatever the case was, certain rumors and theories going around. I believe that, come back to this video in 2 or 3 months from now, whenever War Games is taking place, come back to this video and see how well it holds up, because I believe that you may have Lesnar on that War Games team with the Vision alongside, kind of how Bronson Reed was alongside the Bloodline 2.0 last year. I think that's kind of what you're sort of starting to see here take place. If it was up to me, man, I would just have Lesnar and Heyman once again, because it seems like Heyman with the Vision just really doesn't fit, right? We've seen the Vision now with Becky Lynch and Seth really take off, and especially Braun and Bronson. I mean, they're kind of doing their own thing, but with Heyman, it kind of just seems like it feels like they're trying to replicate Bloodline angles and stories, when in reality, you're never going to do that with this version of whatever the fuck this is. And speaking of the Vision, we also had a Vision match here. It was the Braun Bronze against Fraxium. Of course, the Braun Bronze got the win. Afterwards, there's a nice little promo by the Usos from the Indianapolis arena, and that's kind of it. That's where we leave the tag team match before tomorrow night. We had the women's match made official: Tiffany Stratton against Nia Jax against Jade Cargill for next week. Again, who gives a fuck? It feels like this women's division, it's really only like 3 or 4 women at the very most, and it's always consisting of Nia Jax and Tiffany Stratton. Like, we have to seriously do something better with this whole entire division on SmackDown. Had a great match here between Sammy and Carmelo Hayes, with Sammy picking up the win here for the United States Championship. Again, I would like to see them do more with Carmelo, possibly on a week-to-week basis, but hopefully that's the case moving forward. R-Truth, man, the entire night R-Truth is promoting the ESPN app, the ESPN service, this whole fucking money cash grab from ESPN to try to get your cash. And it really just hit me, watching him do these ESPN commercials, ESPN ads, how fucking, clueless WWE and Triple H was as far as booking R-Truth, because if you remember 2 months ago when that whole drama went down with R-Truth, how fucking hot that whole story was, and especially how hot R-Truth was. And now if you see him 2 months later promoting ESPN, it really just seems like, what the fuck are we doing here, man? And lastly, we had the contract signing between Cody Rhodes and Drew McIntyre. Of course, this always ends in a shenanigan and a big time brawl. But before that, we had Cody Rhodes here come out here and tell Drew McIntyre, of all things, to post something on X or whatever it is so he can go viral, so they can make a moment, because Drew McIntyre is a keyboard warrior. He makes a post saying, "Thank you, Cody." He tells him, "Finally, for a long time, I actually have a straight one-on-one, no bullshit championship match against you." Drew calls Cody the corporate champion, tells him that, for a long time, the corporate champion was such a frowned upon thing to be in this business. He says that, Cody doesn't even care about what his own personal opinions are for this match. He just does what the company tells him to do. This eventually ends up in a brawl with Drew McIntyre almost Claymoring Cody once again through the announce table. He grabs him, though. He tells him, "I'm not going to waste my opportunity. I want to see you tomorrow for that championship match." And then as Drew is walking off towards the entrance ramp, Cody dives at him, and we get this brawl once again with Drew McIntyre standing tall. Now this was made the official main event for tomorrow night, which is kind of what I am, thinking of. Is either Drew actually wins tomorrow night and becomes the WWE champion, or possibly we have finally the Randy Orton heel turn tomorrow, possibly at the end of the match if Cody retains, turning heel on him, because we've seen that teased here and there. Or really far-fetched, possibly likely, possibly unlikely, the final boss. But post your comments down below. Let me know what you thought of tonight's episode of SmackDown, and let me know what you're thinking of heading into WrestlePalooza tomorrow night. And until next time, I will see all of you on the next one.